Hey guys, today we will auto-verify users in Cognito. So some of the reasons why you would want to do this is for testing. It allows you to use dummy data to test your authentication flow. When I would test my authentication flow, I would have to manually verify my users, and I didn't like that. So I looked for ways to automatically verify users, so the testing would go automatically. So this is a very good use case for that. So what you need is AWS account, the CLI installed, and CDK. And the tools we're going to use are Cognito, Lambda, CDK, and Jest for testing. So in our use case, a user will sign up, and then Cognito service will trigger Lambda. And with your custom logic, you will send a response back to Cognito. Cognito will then auto-verify based on your response, and then we should get a success back. All right, so this is very straightforward, and Lambda code is very straightforward as well, so let's get it. So as always, we start with CDK init app, CDK init app, and then language TypeScript. All right, so now that we've done CDK init app, we have all of the necessary files to start. So we will be working in the lib directory, auto-verify stack. So let's remove this and this. So the three things we need are the Cognito service, or let's put our Lambda trigger here, trigger, and our client ID. That's what we're going to use to sign up. And let's do the client ID output so we can quickly put it in our environment variables. So let's start with the Lambda function. It's very straightforward. So let's start with that, index.mjs, and export async function and lib. So we always have an event here. So let's quickly look at the docs to see what it looks like. So I'm going to put this in the description as well. So here you can see the flow for the pre-sign up Lambda trigger. That's the trigger we need. And this is what the payload, the event payload looks like. So this is what you get in your event. This is what we're going to work with. So we are changing these values to true to auto-verify the user. So you can have your own logic based on all of the data you will receive in this event. So for us, it's going to be very straightforward. We're returning the event, and we're overriding some of the attributes. So the response, we don't need the verify phone because we're not going to use a phone number. We put all of this to true. And this is the Lambda code. That's it. Very straightforward. So let's go to the CDK docs. So this is where everything regarding AWS CDK is. If you're using Python, you can go to Python here. If you're using TypeScript like me, you can go to API reference, and then we're going to look for Cognito. You can also go to Lambda, but the code should be here as well in Lambda triggers. Yep. So you can use this. Okay, and then we just have to fix our imports. So CDK dot. I'm going to call this auto verify function. Latest, since we're just testing this, it's not a problem to have latest. So this has to match our code here. So index, yep, and then handler here. So you always have to make sure it matches that. And then you have to import that, and then this just goes to Lambda because it's in the same directory as our auto verify stack folder. Okay, so that's the function. Let's go to Cognito. So same thing, we just go to the docs. Very easy to find what you need in the docs. So just copy paste. We're just going to leave everything as is. I'm going to change this to we don't need all of this. So we want users to be able to sign themselves up. So that's true. We want a removal policy on destroy because this is a stateful service. So if you don't put a removal policy on destroy, it will retain the service even if you do CDK destroy. Since we don't want that to happen, we need to do a removal policy and destroy. Awesome. And our Lambda triggers over here, we need a pre-sign up trigger, and that's going to be our auto verify function. Good. Now we need our client. So for that, we also go to the code, and here, app clients. We only need these 2 lines because you already have our pool. And then we have to actually assign this to the correct variable. So we can add the client, customer app client. That's good. So let's do a output here. So this is so we can easily copy paste the client ID and put it in our environment variables. And then our props key is going to be client ID, and then value is going to be client ID. Good. We should be good. All right. So now we can do CDK deploy. Okay, as you can see, it's done. Everything is done. And you can see our client ID here. This looks very long. Is it always this long? We can put this in our client ID here. All right. So just so you can see what this looks like in the console, let's go to the console. So if you go to Cognito, which is here, let me zoom in a little. Okay, you can see auto verify user pool. You can see everything we created. We go to user pool properties, you can see the Lambda trigger we have. And app integration, you should be able to see the client ID. Yep. Oh, that's a long client ID. Okay. So we have our client ID. So I already wrote the tests. So we can run some tests to see that the client is verified. So we're just using the SDK here. So client ID, that's what we're taking from our environment variable. And then we're just using all of this. So we might need something sophisticated here. So that's going to be our password. This is going to be our email. And we're going to test You can see the sign up response here. I just took all of this code from the docs here. So this is just what I took, and I just changed something. So here you can see what the response should look like. So we're just doing a test on user confirmed to be true. All right, so let's do a quick test. Just test. We only have one test, so just going to do a quick test. And as you can see, it passed. So that means we auto-verified our user. Let's just double check here. Refresh this, you can see we have an auto-verified user. So that's how you do it. I hope you learned a lot in this video. I will be using CDK a lot when I make these videos because it's so much easier to work with that. As always, CDK destroy. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one.